What up, what up, what up, what up? I'm your humble brother Crumb, the master student. As you already know, we are having yet another debate here on 2rawfortv.tv. Family tap all the way in. My question to you is, does anybody know how much all is? So the debate today is, does Black America need a lead? Oh, there's a little typo there. Do Black Americans need a leader? With me is a star studded cast of panelists, none other. And let's start with the good sister and brother. If you could you tell the family who you are and where we can find you at?
Well, if you hear my voice, then you're part of the revolution. I am Palmetto Star, host of Two Rover TV, founder of Two Rover TV uh, network. So, me and Courtney Omega, introduce yourself.
Thank you. I am Courtney Omega Doss, a longtime supporter of Too Raw for TV, as well as a co-founder of P4R, Plantations for Reparations, and the founder and owner of the Colored Only Cafe. Glad to be here today. Thank you.
Humbled, honored, and it's a privilege to have you. Let's continue on with Empress. Could you introduce yourself real quickly? Tell the family who you are, where we can find you at.
Greetings, everybody. I am Empress Westia. I am a lover of people, our people, the original people. You can find me on Instagram at my Empress Westia. You can also find me on umbrellasquad.org. I have a foundation that is empowering women who have lost a child, veterans as well. I'm a Camp Lejeune survivor from the military, and just empowerment of resources of who we are. So, yeah, that's what you can find me. Thank you.
We give you high honors and perfect praise. Thank you so much for tapping in. And it's a fan favorite, my good brother from another mother, A1 since day one. Brother, if you could introduce yourself, please and thank you.
Yeah, salute to the fam. So Miko Turtle, the Big Headed Alchemist, host of Atlantis Indigenous Radio, right here on 2rawfortv.tv every Thursdays 9 p.m. And Atlantis Indigenous Radio is a media arm of our Indigenous Society. That's Atlantis Indigenous Society. That we established to deal with our Holocaust, man, the denationalization of us as original people, and really help our people uplift ourselves, man, holistically, man, out of colonial grips, man, whether it's, the colonial bondages that we got with these colonial society slave certificates that we deal with, and colonizers as far as police and the whole society, man, just to bring some form of solution for us. So y'all can check me out also on Instagram, Turtle the Big Headed Alchemist, or T the Big Headed Alchemist. And the way you see it spelled on the screen, that's how it's spelled. And you will see me doing a handstand on it. That page has been acting a little weird lately. It's been getting more views. So if anything happened with that one, I got another page, Miko Tada Big Headed Alchemist, or Miko Tadanaga. I think that is. Yeah, Miko Tadanaga. But yeah, we're gonna have a great build, man, and I'm looking forward to, the build today.
It's always a gratitude. It's always a boon to have you. Really grateful. All right. So, does Black America need a leader? Not to put the ladies on the hot spot, but I say ladies first. Empress, do you mind?
Thank you so much. Black America, absolutely. Original America, not at all. And I definitely know that that's the significance of why we are separated, because a lot of us think that we are Black. And I'm very big on language. So when I look at the word Black and I see what it's telling us to be, it's telling us to be lack. So if you're in lack, that means you're less than. There's a less of who you know yourself to be. You're in a belief system. So I think Black America needs leadership, absolutely, so they get back to their originality. But when it comes to us and who we are as the divine creators of this planet, absolutely not. We have a knowledge of self, and I spell CELLPH. That's our genetics. That's something that the no one else on this planet can do, is have knowledge of self, be in alignment with that sun. So I think because we have that knowledge, within ourselves. We don't need to be led. Beyonce don't speak for me. Oprah don't speak for me. Shaquille O'Neal don't speak for me. Obama don't speak for me. So personally, no, I don't need leadership. I yield.
Well said. Um, since we've got the good 2 for 1, let's go with our fearless co-founder, Palmetto, and then we can pass to Courtney if that's okay.
Well, I understand what the sister was saying. Absolutely, Black so-called America needs a leader, and I will go into my definition of Black later on, and what it really truly means, the true definition of it. But does Black America need a leader? Uh, what we had here was many leaders, many chiefs, and amongst them there can be leadership in federations, leadership amongst leaders, and so there's a liaison thing. And I want to go into all that because Black people have been so misled about what leadership even is. So this is a good question because see, Black people, a lot of people talk about death to the patriarchy. You haven't ever seen a patriarchy ever in your life, ever. You never see the true king do true king shit. You know what I'm saying? You never seen a Black man step into his manhood and be a king of a nation. You never seen that. You have never seen patriarchy. So when people say that death to the patriarchy, I know they're just rambling off on some media, mainstream mayonnaise media drivel. Because there's no patriarchy. This is pink power terrorism, embodied in a way to where, people are just assuming power. We are power. We don't have to assume power, So does Black America, so-called America, need a leader? Absolutely. 100%.
Okay. This is beautiful. This is change. Because when I first heard the question, that was my immediate response. I was like, absolutely not. There is not a leader that is needed, because what is truly needed for us to do as a people is to possess the skill set of leadership. We need the principles of what leadership means. And this is right on point, because the 3 core principles are the village building initiatives of P4R, the Plantations for Reparations model, are feed the village, teach the village, and lead the village. We have a 6-month course that shows people how to, or engages people with the mindset of creating that leader, tapping that leader within themselves, because this is what is needed, developing the skill set of what a leader possesses, not looking at one person or persons to exemplify that. What needs to be accomplished is establishing the leader within self, as the sister said. This is a tantamount at this point. Not saying that there's plenty of people that I can look at through history as well as standing right now that do possess qualities of a leader, but I'm not looking to them to be my leader. Absolutely not. What I am looking at doing is developing the best me, the best Courtney Omega Doss that I can be. And I look to do the same thing. I look to the same thing from my husband, from him being the best leader that he can be, to my children, I like to call them my son and my star. Okay. So to possess those qualities, they are, in a sense and in reality, becoming that leader that, instead of looking and seeking one, they are becoming one. So absolutely not. Don't need a leader. You need to become a leader, period.
Good brother Turtle, what say ye?
Yeah. So does Black America need a leader? Man, that's so loaded in the question. I know the first sister touched on us being denationalized, and the term Black America being a denationalized term to an extent. It does tie back to us ancient time wise because you got to understand blackness or darkness, regardless of the etymological term that we understand, but the perception of it today has always been tied to original people. In America, I can show and prove that that definitely comes from the Amaru, dealing with our indigenous bloodline, the misnomer Olmec Mayan civilizations that started the Americas and various different civilizations all over this planet. So, do we need a leader? Do Black America need a leader? Absolutely, because it's actually within what everybody said. If you're dealing with you need to become a leader, that means that you need a leader. So you need to actually have leadership to show you, to guide you in a way that is progressive for the people. But leadership is key because, like universal principles, you have divine masculine and feminine forces within this universe, and that is encompassed in leadership. And the key thing is leadership, definitely of knowledge of self. I want to give thanks and praises to Prophet Noble Ali, as well as Dr. Khalid Muhammad, which Dr. Khalid Muhammad B Day is today. See, like these were leaders that came to the people, right, with movements that had leadership within it, that showed us great examples of how we should stand as powerful original people. Um, yeah, I stand on, yeah, and I'm gonna break that down. Why is so many different layers to that. You have family leadership, which Black communities have been denationalized. So the whole thing with denationalization was to destroy the family structure. And we had various different bills on the Lances Indigenous Radio going in on how today's so-called family structures amongst Black people are colonial family structures. And what Black people hate about leader, for one, leader qualities can be demonized. Astrology wise, we in the season of leadership. One of the key words to what y'all know of as Capricorn is leadership, right? I just named two goats, turtle goats, that were Capricorns that came with stern leadership, right? A powerful effect that we've still benefiting from today. So leaders will be demonized to an extent because they're going to come with discipline, structure, order, that's universally harmonized. That in colonial society, which we have been programmed by, those things are evil. To have discipline, structure, order, and particularly coming from an original man. That is key to understand that a lot of our people, in particularly our women, hate patriarchy and leadership because it's like a misdirected energy. Because again, like Palmetto stated, they believe that they're in a patriarchy. And you can say this is a patriarchy, but it's colonial patriarchy. And you can say that it's leadership, but it's colonial leadership. So when you understand colonial is parasitic energy, then you understand that all things can be distorted. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna lead off on. But we got a lot of in depth that we're gonna go in on that.
Powerful. All of you had great insights. A lot has been said. This is early in the game, but a lot has already been said. Empress, anything to add to this takeaway or anything else that comes to mind?
Yes, thank you for asking. One thing I do know is that our experience in this world, I wouldn't even just say this corporation called America, is very different as women and men. So I love the brother saying that we have not experienced patriarchy. This is not patriarchy to them because they know that they are original. So they know they wouldn't have this shit in the world set up the way it is. But when we know ourselves to be the original woman, not Black women, it is this pink power. I definitely like how you said that, Palmetto Star. This is very much so pale face power. To know that I can speak from my experience. I'm a military kid, born in Japan, raised in Philly and Atlanta. So traveling around this country, around this world, and having my experience as an original woman, we are very much so dealing with toxic patriarchy. And when it comes to the patriarchy that I would prefer, which is really none, because I know this to be the original woman to be God herself, I would love to see my brother step up, but we know we have to go into a space of um, slicing throats. And I don't think too many women who look like me are really prepared for that, to go into that really natural space of being in nature. When you look at Mama Bear said, "Don't fuck with my baby cubs, and I won't mess with you." But too many of us do. My apologies. My sister just walked in, so it's gonna be so it's okay. But because we don't operate in our nature, we are very much so addicted to the narrative, which is patriarchy. Then that's our experience as so-called Black women. But like I said, if we stop calling ourselves Black and start going back to our original ways, we would hear and see this world differently than what it is. I yield.
Okay. We are into the second round, and she's coming out swinging. Good brother Palmetto, please. What say you?
So patriarchy. I would like to ask, where are the kings of this patriarchy? Who are the kings of this patriarchy? Because that's what patriarchy is, right? Why I say this is pink power terrorism as opposed to patriarchy. It is basically people are held hostage. The pale male cannot exist in a free world because they have to marginalize, they had to kill, and they had to subjugate in order for this thing that is they had deemed called white to exist. These features, because they're inferior. They're inferior gene pool. So in order for that to continue, they had to initiate terrorism around the world. You know what I'm saying? We right now know that Donald Trump killed a baby, witnessed a baby being killed and thrown in a lake. We know that right now. Everybody in America knows that off the redacted Epstein files, right? What is anybody going to do about it? And it's because of pink power terrorism that has people locked in. It's not anything else. It's not that we cannot be leaders or we can't be all these other things that we are inspired to be. It's pink power terrorism is that the elephant, the pink elephant in the room, you know. So we patriarchy. Where's the kings at? That's what I would ask. Empress is who are these kings and where are these kings? Because this is not patriarchy. That this is not. I would challenge your notion of what patriarchy is, just because it is led by what you consider males. These are which only a black man can be a male. Only a black man can be that. So for to say that this is a patriarchy, I had to disagree. I had to absolutely disagree on that fact because this is not. You've never seen a patriarchy before. They won't. As a matter of fact, they will not have you see a patriarchy because as soon as it turns patriarchy, black men rule. But as soon as it turns to any sort of patriarchy, look at what happened on the golf court. Look what happened on the basketball court. Look what happened. What is happening on any scale. So as soon as they do patriarchy, that's why so-called George Washington, renounced being a king because as soon as it becomes patriarchy, black men will be the rulers, and you have never seen a patriarchy before. I believe in rulership. I believe that this is my thing. We have been so misled, pun intended, about what leadership is because uh, what we have right now is not leadership. You know what I'm saying? It's terrorism guised as um, superiority. You know, so that's what we have right now, and it's not patriarchy. So I can't just because there are males around the world that participate don't does not mean that it is a patriarchal system because there's no kings in there. So by definition, there's no kings, there's no patriarchy.
Hmm.
We are halfway through the second round of the panel, I just want to make this really quick announcement. In about 15 minutes, we're going to cut YouTube. YouTube. And we're going to go exclusively on 2rawfortv.tv. So please, please, and thank you. Make sure you tap all the way in. My only question, does anybody know how much all is? Anyway, let's get back to it. Good sister Courtney, what say ye?
Well, to the sister's point as well, I commend you with being able to articulate and elaborate on that in the regards to this question being a totally different question when we're talking about our women and our men. This is a different reality of what leadership is and what it needs to be, how we can possess it, how we can achieve it. I absolutely also concur with the notion that too many of us are not willing to go into that natural state. And this is what not only hinders the understanding or the appreciation of the significance of becoming or recognizing a leader, but this also hinders the appreciation for the value that leadership brings to your entire dynamic, right? I think that must be something that is to be said about the Philly connection. Heard you say that, sister. Amen. We're going to go for that 215 all day. Absolutely. I taught as an educator in the Philadelphia school system, taught at Girls High, as a matter of fact. And it was the last place that I encountered such a dynamic of what it meant to have red tape. And this was, interestingly enough, and directly connected to this conversation, because it was women. It was raising young women to become women leaders, and this was something that they were very intentional about. Right, this is the school that produced such greats as Jill Scott. All right, that also caught very much recognition from leaders. Afeni Shakur, actually, when she came to Philadelphia as well, was very impressed with the Philadelphia School for Girls model, because she had never seen a school directly dedicated to producing just female leaders. But as we said, to whom much is given, much is required. And a lot of our sisters are not willing to make those sacrifices. Are we willing to change to stop wearing the bundles? Are we willing to stop the fast food addiction, sisters? Are we willing to really truly bring, if you produce those seeds with the male, to bring him into being the leader of the household? Are we willing to that submission? That is true leadership. So again, I want to have the conversation, because it was a great point that Brother Palmetto also recognized in regards to who are these leaders, who are these kings in this patriarchal society. But I had to address this good sister's comments previously, so I want them to get back to that point. But I wanted to also make sure that it was fairly noted that yes, the challenges in recognizing and becoming a leader, we have to appreciate when there's leadership abound. So I yield. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, always a pleasure, always insightful and thoughtful. Good brother Turtle, this is we saved the best for last apparently. Within the second round, please, what say ye?
Man, they all mentioned some excellent points. So I do forget the initial question, but I just want to go off of for the second round of initial question, but I want to go off of some of what they were saying. I agree with the sister when she say toxic patriarchy. I think that's how she put it. Colonial patriarchy is absolutely, that's the definition of it, toxic patriarchy. And you also have within colonial leadership toxic matriarchy feminism, which they infiltrated our communities with heavy. breaking up the Black family household structure or indigenous family household structure. And within the household structure, like I have built on numerous amount of times on Atlantis Indigenous Radio, one of the shows being matriarchy versus patriarchy, you know, which one is for our people or which one our people were before we got colonized, right? Yeah, household structures naturally that man is that architectural intelligent, that head. Due to us being denationalized, the masses of us don't have that knowledge. But you had great leaders that I just mentioned that came through during this time frame to give us back that inheritance, right? The sister went in on the term Black, and she basically going in on what Prophet Noble Drew Ali was essential to bringing forth to the people your nationality, you know, after colonizers took that from you during this Holocaust that we existed in. And you take that from a person, that's the worst crime. That really is the only crime. You know, you hear some people say it ain't about slavery because we was never slaves. Context of that is very true. If we dealing with denationalization, more our people is more slave today on their 9 to 5s and programmed by colonial society, whether that's 50 Cent's false perception of power or his colonial empire that y'all love to watch. Or any other thing that they put in place. They is like we mentioned in the last debate, the colonizers that control the Negroes that they give you of today to be your leadership after establishing counter intelligence, which is deep. I want original people to think about this. Most people around the world consider the FBI, CIA, and all of that the top intelligence agencies around the world. The FBI, which is the foundational of U.S. Colonial intelligence, said they created a whole counterintelligence. That's just to show you who is true intelligence. The original man is true intelligence. Your opposition telling you this shit. They created a whole program called counterintelligence, right? To stop what? The rise of the Black Messiah who would electrify and politicize his people. So that's dealing with divine leadership, understanding that we went through these traumas. These are epigenetic traumas that you see a lot of us going through, motherly and fatherly issues. Daddy wasn't in the household for whatever reason, you know, for whatever reason. Now we understand in this society, most of our women are incentivized through various different methods. It's not just the WIC and EPT to have the original man out of that household. Is colonial programming. All your colonial programming. I mentioned some of the television shows of modern time, but you had ones prior as well. So it's key to understand that we're dealing with a colonial society and being denationalized. So the masses of our people, yeah, is going to be off. It's going to still be dealing with traumas unprogressively. And when you understand the power of your indigenous inheritance, right? These other two goats I'm gonna be honoring on the next Atlantis Indigenous Radio will be Muhammad Ali, as well as Master Grandmaster Moses Powell, who taught the and also known as Musa Muhammad, his indigenous name, but who taught the FOI, which the GOAT Muhammad Ali was FOI. So it's important to understand that we got measurements of protection when we understand our Aboriginal inheritance and who we are. And leadership is important for us to harmonize. The original woman does, she went through the same stuff that we went through, just on a different level. But for women, they internalize things different. So you do need to understand that. And us being the natural leaders, original man is going to have to take the energy that she come with, and you're going to have to know how to heal her from that, because she going to come at you because she got daddy issues. Many of them have daddy issues. They did not have a father in the household, or their father did not have knowledge of self like that. So and then of course they horrible choosing on you know, just males in their life. You feel me? They got that trauma. You know, every man they done dealt with, and whether he really did or didn't have knowledge of self, and most of the time he didn't. So you know, we got to take that all into consideration. But when you talk about leadership, man, I'm thinking of all the great leaders that came before us that laid the foundation for the greatness of what we're doing. That we wouldn't be talking this understanding our nationality type stuff, or being a powerful original man and securing our legacy, like Dr. Khalid Muhammad. And even what he mentioned on going in last week, the first thing he made the brothers that was opposing what we was coming with was acknowledging your open opposition. The pilgrims that call themselves Jews and others that group together to keep us in a poverty state, in a weak state. So that's important, but leadership does that. And yes, most Black women have not experienced a powerful original man as leadership. Because the boyfriends that they choose, I mean, it's just trash. The fathers have not been in their life. Yeah, so all of those traumas, we got to understand that that's a reality. So I be understanding where they be coming from, but you still got to teach, because we are different original man that got knowledge of self, love of self, and we putting in work in a different type of way. So we creating our own. We're not asking the colonizer or begging the colonizer for nothing. We taking back our divine inheritance and honoring the great leaders, the shoulders that we stand on.
Well, that was 2 rounds completed, which easily brought us to the 30-minute mark. To the family on YouTube, I am humbled, honored, and grateful to have you. But I do want to ask that everybody come on over to 2rawfortv.tv. That's 2rawfortv.tv. Tap all the way in. All right, so for the YouTube family, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great rest of your day. Peace. Okay, now we are exclusively on 2 Raw for TV. Let's go into round 3. A lot has been said, Empress. I see you over there with some, some facial expressions. Please tap in.
Okay.
Just unmute your mic.
I'm glad you can see me, okay? Because I'm listening to y'all. I love the whole conversation. But when we keep talking about this leadership, I just want to know: do y'all ever think that a woman could be in leadership? The original woman, not a Black woman. And when we speaking on leadership, I'm not speaking to the heavy lifting and things like that, even though we know that the woman's body could do things way greater than any man could do. But when we're talking about leadership and the acknowledging of the matriarchy, acknowledging the original woman, not the Black woman, I know her to be her, the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. Just as I see my eye in the background, I know who I am. I am that I am. So with that, and we speak to leadership and everything we've seen in this stage we call the world, we've only seen males in leadership. And I think the world is very fucked up because the men are in leadership. And that's the problem. We're not in nature. We're in everything that is a narrative. And we're losing because we're so far away from nature. Nature is divine feminine and masculine, divine masculine, but you know that divine masculine is birthed out of divine feminine. So going back to her and what that leadership may look like in the submissions from which you came out of a womb. You come in a womb to come back out of a womb, a dark womb at that. So when we look at who we are as a people, I've never understood how we could think that submission would come from the roles, that narrative of, well, a woman is supposed to submit, but you come from me. So how could the creation desire for the creator to submit to it? I've never gotten that. I love my original brothers. There ain't nothing more powerful on this planet than y'all, period. Outside of myself, I am that I am. But if I know these things about my SUN, that means I'm supposed to exalt my SUN and speak a truth that goes beyond this narrative. And that goes back to who we are naturally. I'm not saying, oh yeah, I want to make all the decisions. But when we look at nature, when we look at what's natural, there's a difference in who we are and how they show us and how they give us this narrative on BET, Love and Hip Hop Baddies. That's a narrative. That's not natural. So of course you all can't, not you all personally, but the world can't see the original woman being in leadership because she thinks she's Black and she want to be Black, and we've cultivated ourselves to be Black. But in all actuality, in nature, we are the leaders naturally. We're the first teachers. And because she has really conditioned herself to go from being original, being birthed into this world as original, to being Black, to being African American, she has forgot her ways. She has truly lost herself. So I don't until, like I said before, we get back to that original state, taking them bundles out of our hair, taking them dumbass lashes off of our face, and honoring our womb. We're so detached from our womb. So I don't see how we could be in leadership today, for sure. But to go back to the way it was before the credit score system, before the penthouses, before the Rolls Royces, like that natural way, we have to get back to, because this son is doing something that's never done before. So we're getting back to a space, but I don't think people actually know what that leadership gonna look like. I yield.
Okay. Palmetto, please and thank you. I see you over there, 32 teeth. Let's unmute your mic.
I had to say something about. I have seen that leadership before, so I have seen a phenomenal woman step into her supreme state. I have seen that. So I have seen that leadership before, and this is what I'm saying. I'm gonna go into the definition of Black, right? Because it's so funny that a lot of people quote the Black's Law Dictionary. Think about why they're even giving you this thing, Black's Law Dictionary, to say what Black is, right? When I talk about Black, I'm talking about the void. I'm talking about the void which we all come from. That is the true darkness. That's the true blackness. That is the true void, the nothingness state where we could create everything from. That is the true Black, not this. Because first of all, black is a status and white is a status, right? Pell mells, and they took this white status and applied it to a racial identity, and they took the Black status and applied it to a racial identity. You know what I'm saying? When Osiris was the perfect Black, Black deals with divinity, that darkness which they put under the whole thing of Black. You know what I'm saying? There have been Black women that could step into their supreme self, because Black is a status of divinity, is a status is a akin to godliness. How they say that, but we control the narrative. We control all words. We created the English language, so we could surpass Black's Law Dictionary, which they gave y'all Negroes to make the word Black seem like it's just when we were calling Osiris the perfect Black in that language equivalent. We were calling these different gods, Hindu gods, and things of that nature. They were akin to Black as well, and that is because of what Black is, and that is the void, that's the darkness, that's where we all come from. You know what I'm saying? So when I say Black, I understand what you're saying with the denationalization. Black is not a nationality. It's not. But Black is supreme. Black is supreme as far as the darkness, the void we all come from, which is the void is the Black woman. The void is the womb. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we come from. We come from our worst nightmare.